Hello guys. Welcome back to Chuck D Football TV. There's a big game today. At the time that I'm shooting this video, there's a big game today between Nigeria and Ghana. The Super Eagles of Nigeria, hence my green, white, green. I was going to watch the game. I was planning on going to watch the game, but just due to the fact that I have certain things going on and basically I can't go watch the game, so I'll be watching the game from home. Let's go watch it live. But at the time of me shooting this video, which is on the 28th, the Super Eagles of Nigeria will be facing Ghana. So I was thinking that in honor of my country, Nigeria, I wanted to do a different video, which is titled my top 5 players ever. My top 5 Nigerian players of all time. And I'll just be going, I've picked my top 5. These are the criterias on how I'll be picking my top 5 Nigerian players of all time. Nostalgia, skill sets, maybe achievements, and just off eye test, how they made me feel when I was watching them play, how they made me feel. So those are the criterias I'll be using to pick my top 5 Nigerian players of all time. And I'm not going to make this video a long-winded one, just straight to the point. And how I'll be doing it is I'll be going from the least to the top, to the best, basically. So from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I haven't written anything down or anything, so I'll just be going straight off the dome. So for my number 5 best Nigerian players of all time, my number 5 will be Victor Enyema, who was arguably our greatest keeper, Nigerian keeper of all time. Nigeria over time, we've had incredible shot stoppers at goal. We've had the likes of Peter Rufai, Ikeshoromu, and some other names that I can't remember. But we've had legendary keepers as such. But I would say that just as a purely as a shot stopper, the best I've seen is Enyema. Enyema, incredible keeper, man. Incredible keeper. Flexible, sharp. I don't know if he played in Europe. I know he played in Israel at the point. I could get my laptop and do all the research and stuff, but just doing this was just impromptu. This video was impromptu. Yeah, and I think a lot of Nigerian fans will agree with me on that one. Also, I think it's also a generational thing. A lot of the people that maybe grew up on Peter Rufai's time would pick Peter Rufai as the greatest Nigerian keeper that they've watched. And I don't think if you pick Peter Rufai, or if you pick Ikeshoromu, or if you pick Victor Enyema, or you pick somebody else, I don't think you're wrong. So this is just based on my opinion on and like I said, how what I witnessed. I watched Peter Rufai growing up, but I was very young. But I watched Ikeshoromu. I think that for me, that would be my number 2 keeper for Nigeria of all time. Ikeshoromu. My favorite, my best is Victor Enyema, and I think because the things Victor Enyema did for Nigeria, how long he was Nigeria's first choice goalkeeper. I think he was Nigeria's first choice goalkeeper longer than, Ikechoromu, longer than Peter Rufai, and those lots. So that'll be my number 5 of all time. Now, my number 4 greatest Nigerian player of all time. My number 4 will be Joseph Yobo. I'll put Joseph Yobo as my number 4. The reason why I put Joseph Yobo as my number 4 is how incredible he was as a defender. How incredible he was as a defender. He was solid at the back. I think he played maybe like 3 World Cups for Nigeria. Don't quote me, I might be wrong. Do your own research. But I think he played up to at least 3 World Cups for Nigeria. He was, at a point, he played in the Premier League for a long time. He was a staple for Everton. He was, I think at some point, he was either the vice captain for Everton or their main captain. He played a lot of games for Everton. I would describe him as a Barclays legend, kind of like a Barclays legend when it comes to defenders. He was solid, he was strong, he was a leader. His name was ringing bells in the Premier League as a defender. Obviously, Everton wasn't a top team. Like, they were not like a top 5 team or top 4 team or top 6 team, whatever. But no, they might have even been like a top 8 or something like that. They were like those, what like Aston Villa is right now. That was what like Everton, that was what they were at the time, I would say. So he was a top defender during the early 2000s. He barely would get injured. He was always present when you called on him, both nationally and for club. So I'll put him at my number 4. There's so many players that are coming to my memory now that I'm like, wow, this person might not be on my list. Damn. Woo! Some people might not make the list. I might list my 5 and do like a honorary mention. That's what I'll do. I'll mention my 5, they do an honorary mention. So I have 3 more to go. So my 5th was Enyema. My 4th was Joseph Yobo. My third of all time will be my third of all time has to be Mikel Obi. Mikel Obi is a legend. That's it. Mikel Obi is a legend for the things he achieved as a player, the amount of games he played, leader. He was a Nigerian captain for a very long time. And if we do a fast track of Mikel Obi's career, he was a wonder kid. He was a wonder kid, a real wonder kid that made it. Do you understand? His name was ringing bells from Pepsi Football Academy. His name was ringing bells from when I was a teenager, from when I was young. That name, Mikel Obi, he was a wonder kid, like I said. His name was ringing bells everywhere. He was like probably what Messi is to Argentina, a name that was ringing bells, like what Wayne Rooney was in England. That is what Mikel Obi was in Nigeria at the time. From Pepsi Academy, to playing, I think, in Jos. Then, he went to play in Norway for Lyn Oslo. and we all know the battle between Manchester United and Chelsea to secure his signature at the time. These teams were like the biggest teams in the world, at least in the Premier League at the time. Chelsea, this was the Mourinho time, Mourinho era, Alex Ferguson era. These guys were battling it out. That the FA, FIFA even had to get involved. If you go watch the whole story on his podcast, he speaks about it. He had signed a pre-contract with Manchester United, but because he was too young at the time, they had to send him back to Nigeria so that when he turned 18, he could come back to Manchester to sign a pro contract. But then he went to Nigeria, and then Chelsea sent a scout, and he was sent to Lyon Oslo to play until he turned 18 and blah blah blah. So just go do your Googles and your research on the whole story. For two giants to fight for your signature, that means that they saw something in you. Plus, he went to Chelsea he was at Manchester United, I think, for 2 weeks for a trial. They took him. Also, he went to Chelsea for a trial. So his name was ringing bells. Plus, I think it was I can't remember what competition it was. Was it the under-20 World Cup or something? That that 17. I can't remember what it was. Where Nigeria we got to the finals and we lost to Argentina. I think it was a goal by Di Maria. I remember watching that game as a very young boy. I don't even know if I was a teenager. Yes, maybe I was a teenager, maybe like 13 or something. We lost to Argentina. I think Di Maria scored. I think Messi scored as well. But Mikel Obi was like the second best player in that tournament. He was a wonder kid. Like I said, it was Lionel Messi and it was him. And for what he went to do in his career, he won a plethora of trophies. He both nationally and for club. He won the Champions League. He won the Premier League. He won FA Cups, Carling Cups, Nations Cup with Nigeria. I think he won maybe like 2 Nations Cups if I'm not mistaken. So he had an incredible career. Obviously, people can say that, well, when he went to Chelsea, his role, he took on the Makalele role, which wasn't really what he came up doing. But at the end of the day, it worked out for him because he was, when you look at him, out of every other player that played for Manchester United, he was one of those players that were there for a long time. With all the coaches that coached Chelsea at the time, from Mourinho to the other ones, AVB, Conte, he was a factor in that team. He played under every coach that came after Mourinho. So you have to give it to him for his track record speaks for himself. He's one of the greatest African players all time when it comes to like that position as a midfielder, as a DM, and just trophies of club football. He should be put up there. I'm sorry. So that is my number 3. My number 2 will be the great Nwankwo Kanu. Papilo, what can I say? There are just a lot of reasons as to why Kanu is in second place for me. There's just a lot of reasons, and I don't want to be long-winded, but first of all, his track record, the clubs he played for, Inter Milan, he played with Ronaldo, and the players he played for, type of players he played with in Inter Milan, he played with Ronaldo. in Inter Milan, Ajax. He played with Clarence Seedorf, Frank Rijkaard, Babayaro. I think Babayaro was Babayaro there. I think Babayaro was there. Finidi George, Champions League winner. With Ajax. I think he won the Italian Serie A with Inter Milan. Then with Arsenal, won FA Cups, Premier League. He won the Olympics. I think he won a Nations Cup. Won an FA Cup again. Even won an FA Cup with West Brom. No, not with was it with West Brom? With Portsmouth. He won an FA Cup with Portsmouth. Went to West Brom. Was incredible at West Brom. So Kanu, very tall and lanky, but very good on the ball, very silky, good finisher, skillful. He's just one of our legends. And everybody nobody can disagree. He was that guy. Played with Dennis Bergkamp, with Thierry Henry. Played under prime Arsene Wenger. I mean, the list goes on. The list goes on. He was even when he had his heart problem, everybody thought it was over for him. He was finished. But then he came back with a hole in his heart and still did incredible things. So dude just has to be up there, whether you like it or not. And now for my number one of all time, drum roll. You guessed it, JJ Okocha. JJ Okocha. He was so good, they named him twice. JJ Okocha, what can I say? What can I say about JJ? JJ he revolutionized football in Nigeria. He revolutionized football. He was a delight to watch. He was football orgasm. He was a hero to a lot of us growing up. Everybody wanted to play like JJ. Everybody wanted to do the step over like JJ. Everybody, he played with a smile on his face. He tried things that in real games that you only try in midfield. What am I saying? He tried tricks in real game that you can only try in training, during training. Do you understand? He broke the mold. There's even a story that Ronaldinho said that he patterns his game off JJ. What there's nothing else I can say. Yes, he didn't achieve on a maybe personal level or club level. He didn't probably achieve trophy-wise. He didn't achieve as much as, maybe the rest, like a Kanu, like a Mikel. He didn't probably achieve as much as them, but he's a juggernaut of the game worldwide. Played for big clubs, played for PSG, played in Turkey played for PSG, played for Frankfurt in Germany, played in Fenerbahce, played in Bolton, although Bolton was never a big club or anything, but JJ Okocha will always be known as that's Barclays legend, that Barclays, from that Barclays era. He was different. Nobody was doing what he was doing at the time. Nobody had seen, because at the time, that Barclays era, it was an era of hard men, hard tackle, kick the ball up and just kick it. That was the game then. But for somebody to come with step overs and free kicks and the Rabonas and it wasn't a familiar thing. It wasn't a familiar thing in the Premier League at the time. So JJ revolutionized not only the Premier League but football. Do you understand? And it's crazy that I feel like there was one what's his name, the coach of Bolton at the time, Big Sam Allardyce. There's a interview, Barclays interview on Amazon Prime I was watching. He said that is the greatest player he's ever coached, JJ Okocha. And he said when he decided to get JJ Okocha, he did not think JJ was going to accept to come to Bolton. I don't think even JJ even said he didn't know much about Bolton. He didn't know much about Bolton at the time. It was a risk, you know. Plus, obviously, they broke the bank for him. I think as regards wage, you know. Did they? Well, yeah, I think they did. Or there was a clause in his contract or something like that. Anyways, he saved them from relegation. And you know, someone like JJ, people say that JJ could have played in like a Real Madrid, or he had enough talent to play in like a Real Madrid, a Barcelona, or one of those big teams, whether in the Premier League or in the Italian league or in the Spanish league. JJ was that guy. You know, he was that guy. So, and just the eye test alone, just the eye test. Go watch his highlights. You know, he revolutionized football. Like I said, you know, when people want to play like you, when people want to be like you, when kids want to try things like you, when kids want to wear, he number 10, kids growing up wanted to be number 10 just because of JJ. He's my number 1 of all time. So an honorable mention for me would be Obafemi Martins. I think that is he's an unsung hero. He's one of the I don't think his name is brought up a lot. You know, I don't think his name is brought up a lot when you're talking about like maybe legendary strikers in Nigeria. I feel like maybe it's because he didn't do enough for the national team, but club-wise, he was a menace. He was one of the best young strikers in world football, hands down. Hands down. At that time, top 5, top 10, he was there. That pairing with Adriano, that Inter Milan at that time with Zanetti, Adriano. What? I think he won the FA Cup with Birmingham. Then when he came to Newcastle, he was just such a menace. Short guy, but his speed. He was known for his speed. Probably one of the fastest players in the world at the time. Menace as a striker. Absolute menace. You know, Obafemi Martins, you know, go look at the things he's done for Inter Milan. You know, so that's my top 5. I didn't want to make this video so long-winded. I wanted to make it short and straight to the point. So yeah, hopefully Nigeria wins today. You know, like I said, we are facing the Black Stars of Ghana at Brentford Stadium. So I'll be watching the game. I'll be watching it from home. And my score prediction for that game is 2-0. Nigeria, 2-0. So, but yeah, that's about it. If you liked this video, if you appreciate this video or whatever, or if you watch this video to the end, please like. If you have your own top 5, or if you think there's somebody I should have removed for somebody, please leave a comment under the comment section. Let me know yours. Let me know your top 5 and why. You know, let me know your top 5 and why. If you think in my own top 5 I should have switched maybe like somebody that is second place to like 4th, let me know. Let me know your opinion under the comment section. Thanks for watching, and until next time, peace.